Demographically, we define teenagers as anyone between the ages of 13 and 19. In everyday conversation, society tends to group this entire demographic into a frustrating, awkward age bracket that everyone simply has to endure. Parents often compile a similar list of complaints. Their teenager has poor hygiene, they stare at phones all night, they sleep until noon, and treat conversations like interrogations, refusing to communicate. If you look closely at the daily experience of a teenager, you find a disconnect between the dismissive adult perspective and the teenager's lived reality. Adolescence is a period of biological and psychological restructuring. To accurately understand teenage behavior, society must stop categorizing it as deliberate rebellion and recognize it as a response to a system in total transition. The transition starts internally. Entering adolescence triggers a massive hormonal shift that alters the body on an unpredictable schedule. A child's predictable physical state is replaced by sudden acne breakouts and the uneven arrival of facial hair. The physical consistency of childhood disappears. This shift extends to the sleep cycle. This comparative timeline chart shows how the human circadian rhythm changes during adolescence. A typical child's rhythm induces sleep around 9 p.m., but as puberty begins, the brain delays the release of melatonin, keeping a teenager's internal clock active until 1 or 2 a.m. This delayed biological sleep cycle crashes into early school start times, which often force teenagers to wake up by 6 a.m. This results in a compounding deficit in their total sleep hours, leading to a state of chronic exhaustion. When a teenager sleeps until noon on a Saturday, they are an exhausted biological system attempting to recover a severe physiological sleep debt. In childhood, your physical presence is stable and predictable. In adolescence, that control disappears. When you cannot predict your own height or appearance from month to month, the confidence formed during childhood begins to erode. This loss of control leads to a habit of social comparison. Teens begin measuring their own worth against their peers based on physical traits, scrutinizing who is taller or who has a more athletic physique. These comparisons expand to material markers of status. Teenagers fixate on who has designer clothes, the newest smartphones, or wealthy parents. This focus on physical and material flaws creates a paralyzing fear of social and romantic rejection. A teenager's preoccupation with their reflection or their possessions is a defensive survival mechanism. They are attempting to armor themselves in an environment where they feel constantly observed. With their internal confidence weakened, teenagers look to outside sources for validation and a sense of belonging. They pull away from their parents to establish independence, creating strict boundaries and keeping secrets to protect a new, fragile social identity. This social hierarchy pyramid illustrates the draw of high-status peer groups. For a vulnerable teenager, moving from a crowded lower tier into an exclusive top tier provides a shield against their own insecurities. Maintaining a position in that social tier often requires peer pressure, the willing safety to ensure conformity. This need to belong can lead to destructive habits. They may adopt behaviors like smoking or substance abuse to avoid being cast out of the peer group. Succumbing to peer pressure is driven by the primal, overriding fear of social isolation. The teenager is an individual managing physical changes, social pressures, and internal uncertainty simultaneously. Withdrawal, irregular hours, and mood swings reflect the effort required to navigate these competing pressures. The coping habits formed and the social circles chosen during this window often dictate their trajectory into adulthood. Navigating the teenage years requires moving past stereotypes and adopting empathy for a difficult developmental phase of human life.